Live from the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco, California, it's theCUBE at Oracle OpenWorld 2014. Brought to you by headline sponsor QLogic, with support from HGST, Violin Memory, and MarkLogic. And now, here are your hosts, Dave Vellante and Stu Miniman.
Hi everybody, welcome back to San Francisco. This is Dave with Stu. We're here all day today. We're here yesterday, broadcasting tomorrow as well. We also have John Furrier and Jeff Fricker over at the Cisco booth, talking to those guys and that whole ecosystem. Eric Herzog is here, good friend of theCUBE, CMO at Violin. Eric, welcome back, good to see you again. Thank you, Dave. Always love to participate in all the CUBE events. Well, we really appreciate the support. You know, you going over to Violin was a big move. We've talked about this in the past, we don't have to revisit that, but, and you've given us the update. Now we're here at Oracle OpenWorld. Should be the sweet spot for you guys. Database and all flash arrays are like peanut butter and jelly, aren't they?
For Violin in particular, it's a very strong sweet spot. We have close to 400 customers, a large number are in the Fortune Global 500, and all of the ones in the Fortune Global 500, their number one use case is some sort of Oracle deployment. In many instances, we have an Oracle data warehouse deployment as well as an Oracle transaction processing. We have a number of customers that use the Oracle e-business suite, and we even have a number of customers, for example, on SAP, but with an Oracle database underneath, with SAP sitting on top, or some other ERP system that's not Oracle, but still sitting on an Oracle database. So for us in particular, it's a very strong sweet spot. Big data analytics, real-time applications using Oracle databases, traditional OLTP and OLAP as well. So for us, it's a heavy concentration of the company, and we even have a number of consulting engineers that came from Oracle, and are not storage guys, they're really Oracle guys, they're database guys. We even have an Oracle master.
I was telling Stu, and I don't know if we've talked about this, but earlier this year, I did a roadshow and was meeting with a lot of customers, probably about 400 or 500 at least, face-to-face, doing presentations, roundtables, things like that. And with a lot of Oracle customers, a lot of DBAs, and some storage practitioners as well. And I asked every one of them, because I was talking a lot about flash and how it's changing things.
Right.
Who's got flash? A lot of people have flash, but then I said, who's got all flash arrays? A lot fewer, right? So it's still early days. Then I asked, who's all flash array? Pure came up, a little bit of Extreme IO, but Violin was probably the most prominent within that base. Very small sample, only talking about 400 or 500 customers, but two things struck me. One is it's early days, two was the early traction that you guys got. So why were you successful early on? I know you were early to market, but why were you successful, and how do you sustain that?
Well, I think from the early success factor, I think the key thing is our focus is about applications. Yes, we're a storage company. As you know, I've been in storage for 30 years. People don't buy storage, they buy what makes their application better, what makes them money, what reduces their TCO, and what delivers ROI. We've got a customer, a giant telco, Oracle rack configuration, basically for billing minutes. They were missing the minutes. Think of a factory, minutes coming out of the factory, they could see how many minutes came out of the factory, but they weren't billing. They now are running an Oracle rack configuration. They rewrote the Oracle software, they put it on our all-flash array. They tried it on a traditional hybrid array, by the way, not a all hard drive array, but literally a hybrid. Didn't work, they put it on us. This year they projected billing 110 million additional euros, and the investment in Violin was 2 million. So their ROI essentially was 1 month. And obviously with a 3-year depreciation cycle like most big enterprises, that giant telco is going to generate close to 600 million in revenue off a $2 million investment. So one is our ability to do that. Two, we have a number of experts in our consulting engineering team and solutions architecture team that aren't storage guys. They're not IBM storage guys, EMC like me, they're not ex-NetApp. They literally are Oracle guys, Microsoft guys, SAP guys that we brought into the fold to combine the balance of storage expertise with application expertise. And in fact, they, as well as many of our channel partners, not only do the install, but then we literally go out and not only modify the array, but literally modify the database to take advantage of what the array can deliver, because traditional storage or hybrid storage can't do it. So I think for us, the secret has been marrying the storage with real application delivery, whether it be in the Oracle space, the SAP space, the Microsoft space, the VMware and Citrix space, making sure that we're tying applications to storage, not just saying, hey, buy my storage, it makes your app faster, literally really doing professional services and getting the right partners, whether it be an Oracle partner, an SAP partner, or a Cisco partner, one that knows how to literally tune the apps to run on the storage.
Selling business value.
All about business value, all about application optimization. That's the critical thing.
So a lot of the discussion now, you know this, you see in the trade press and you hear it devolves down into compression and dedupe. Right? It's like, oh, you got compression? Oh, you don't? You're screwed. But you're selling business value. You started selling without those capabilities. Now you've subsequently added data reduction. But what's the conversation like with customers? Is it really down to that base level and you just got to get through that and check a box? Or how thoughtful is that conversation? I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit.
So for us, it's exceedingly thoughtful. First of all, we segment within a customer who we're talking to. So it's funny, we even have a slide we show our channel partners. While we all love storage guys, you don't just call on the storage guy. You talk to the storage guy, the line of business owner, the application owner, the VP of software infrastructure, and you talk to all those guys to make sure that you're matching the needs. Mm-hmm. So for us, we also call or talk up and down. So we talk to CIOs, we talk to VPs, we talk to storage admins, we talk to DBAs. And by doing that, each one has their own frame of reference. The DBA wants certain things. The guy the DBA reports to needs something a little bit different. And the guy who runs the business line, or the guy who's the CIO, has a totally different set. So we make sure that we match what each of those constituents within any single customer wants, and make sure that we can traverse those various and different needs and wants. So that's what we do.
Okay, so what are they telling you?
A couple things. CIOs are very concerned about business value, very concerned about budget optimization, and very concerned about making sure that they can show value to the CEO and the CFO, as well as the line of business owners.
Yeah, so Eric, talking about the performance of database, in-memory database is one of the hottest topics. It was one of the key things Thomas Kurian talked about in the keynote this morning. Can you walk us through what you're seeing, what customers are telling you about is it in-memory database versus your solution? Do they ever go together? How does that fit?
Yeah, so actually for us, they go together.
Okay.
So we, for example, are SAP HANA certified. As you know, SAP, while not Oracle, is an inline memory database. We've also been doing some work with Microsoft on the inline version of 2014, and obviously with the announcement that Oracle did in July, also with Oracle. So for us, we really don't care. We can add value to a traditional infrastructure, so SAP or Oracle e-business suite sitting on top of Oracle. We can add value to even older databases, such as SAP's ASE, which is the old Sybase, and we can add value to inline. One of the things with inline is putting incredible amounts of DRAM. So there's a hardware cost associated with inline that a lot of customers don't want to bear. So if you take that and put the right amount of DRAM, not excessive amounts, and then you can do your overflow into flash. So we've done that in SQL environments for sure. We've done it in SAP environments on the SAP HANA platform, and we're working on it right now in the Oracle environment to do the exact same thing. In the non-Oracle world, because I know the real data, we have customers that save between 4 and 5 times on their hardware initial CapEx to run that inline database by getting a limited amount of DRAM and then putting the rest in flash. Yet they suffered no performance degradation versus buying a big giant configuration that was all DRAM. We foresee that we'll have the same exact experience with the Oracle inline database as we have with both the SQL inline database and the SAP HANA config. We think we're going to get the same exact results, at least between the SQL inline and SAP. We had very similar results, similar savings, huge performance gains, and the advantages without having to buy that super expensive hardware and going with a flash external array to complement the DRAM configuration of the inline memory database.
So Eric, Oracle, more than any company, focuses on that whole hardware and software integration, trying to leverage things like hybrid columnar compression, and building out that red stack. How do you guys compete with that? What's the conversation like with Oracle customers? Is it a different sell? Is it a harder sell? How do you differentiate, and how is the market shifting? I know there's a lot of questions in there, but start with how you differentiate in that environment.
Well, I think the key thing we differentiate on is obviously the Oracle configurations work only with Oracle. You buy Exadata, you can only run Exadata. We have customers in production that are running 2 Oracle databases, 2 SQL databases, and a little VDI on one single 70 terabyte all-flash array. Right, the average database is between 4, 6, 8 terabytes. We've got an array that's 70 terabytes, so we can run all sorts of different configurations. Basically, if you think of traditional storage, right, whether it be hard drive or hybrid, no one buys a single application and puts it on an EMC Vmax or an IBM DS8000. They run multiple workloads and multiple applications. With our all-flash arrays, that's exactly how we market it. So we are set up for mixed and multiple workloads, multiple Oracle databases or multiple different Oracle applications on the same physical array instead of buying it in piece parts. What that does is deliver you an incredible TCO and optimizes the expense when you buy the all-flash to match up with your Oracle configuration, or for that matter, any other configuration, because we really push the multiple and mixed workload message, which is what they do with their traditional either hybrid or all hard drive arrays. They don't buy just an array only to run one thing. And with our arrays being so large and scaling to 280 terabytes of raw capacity with new things coming later in the year, we can continue to do that and run all kinds of workloads on the same box. And then for us, again, because, and in this case, not necessarily against Oracle, because clearly they have a bunch of Oracle experts, but compared to most of the other all-flash array vendors, we have a ton of Oracle, like I said, we have an Oracle master, which is one of the highest levels any guy can be, and we have a number of ex-Oracle DBAs that work for us. So that gives us a leg up against most of the competition. And we go toe-to-toe with Oracle all the time, and we win many times. Every once in a while we lose to an Exadata, especially when they give it away in exchange for a software license agreement. But other than that, we have no problem competing and showing real value with our all-flash systems.
And you're winning, in part, you mentioned that sort of horizontal versus vertical. Are you finding situations where people are trying to optimize their I/O infrastructure, their storage infrastructure, and then maybe reduce or improve the efficiency of the number of cores? Because, of course, Oracle's licensing databases on a per core basis. That's going to increase my license costs, it's going to ripple through to my maintenance. Are you seeing actual examples in the field of people being able to use flash to cut the number of cores and consequently their Oracle license fees?
Yes, in fact, we have a customer in Australia that went from 48 physical servers to 2. And then not only cut on the physical server price, obviously, cut down on the licensing fee, cut down on the second and third year maintenance, obviously, because that's tied to the original license fee, and in this case also saved on power, rack and stack, and floor space, because it went from 48 physical boxes to 2 physical boxes by switching to our all-flash array solution. And we see that in a number of different environments. We had a customer in a virtual world who went from 14 virtual machines on a single physical server. They left the virtual machine size the same and IOPS the same. They put the same exact physical server in the configuration, but all they did was swap our array in, and they went from 14 virtual machines to 50. Now that's optimizing total cost of ownership. And we see that in the Oracle world, we see that in virtual worlds, we see that in other database worlds. There's a huge gap in performance between servers and between the I/O and latency that you get off an all-flash array. When you use traditional storage, you make up for that by over-provisioning your server and virtual server farms. When you go to an all-flash array like Violin's, you can dramatically shrink the physical server farm and the virtual server farm when it's a virtualized workload and not have as many, yet get better performance than when you're running all these over-provisioned physical servers connected to traditional hybrid or all hard drive-based storage.
Can you talk about latency a little bit? Let's drill into that, because that's a key metric. With spinning disk.
Yes.
You're kind of limited.
So you really end up with 3 real metrics in the database community. Gigabytes per second, which is more in the data warehousing world, although latency and IOPS are important there, particularly on ingest for super high velocity, real-time data warehouses where they're constantly shoving data in. They've got to ingest all that data in. The data warehouse may be 20 petabytes, but they've got to suck all that data in, and obviously you can use all flash arrays in a data warehouse world to manage the metadata and the search engines, right, and be able to do that. Second area where it's clearly critically important is in traditional transactional-oriented environments. Latency is the enemy. You really have these 3 parameters, gigabytes per second, IOPS, and latency. If you optimize for 1 or 2 of them, you really don't get the optimal solution. And latency is one of the biggest enemies of database applications. Not just IOPS, you absolutely need better IOPS, and the faster they get, you get on the IOPS side, the better, but the lower the latency, you'll see even more benefit with incredibly low latency than you will with incredibly high IOPS in most database workloads, be that Oracle or one of the other databases in the market.
So you're saying your architecture is not necessarily optimized for one of those three or two of those
We are
three,
optimized for both. So for example, in real world, 70-30 read-write mix with our current array, we can deliver 500,000 sustained IOPS, not read-only IOPS, not burst IOPS, but sustained IOPS, never going below 500,000. At the same time, we can deliver sub-millisecond latency. Some of the other bigger companies in particular talk about their sub-millisecond latency. We can do sub-half a millisecond latency. And we even have a couple, in fact, one of the 10 largest companies in the world has basically on the host side aggregated our arrays, connected to the host, not on our side, but literally through the host. And they are seeing IOPS over 2 million sustained, not burst, but sustained. And they're seeing 0.15 millisecond latency in real world applications. In this case, it happens to be an Oracle rack configuration for a giant transactional operation in a company that's in excess of $300 billion a year in revenue. So, latency is critical and IOPS are critical. You can't just have one. If you only have IOPS, that's not good. If you only have latency, that's not good either. And we optimize for both in a consistent, deliverable fashion.
So that was a good example, so I want to push it for some other proof points if I can. I love you coming on because you got the facts in your head, you always have. The independent Oracle user group a while ago, it was over a year ago now, did a study on how DBAs spend their time. And I was struck by how much time they spend on what some would call non-differentiated heavy lifting, sort of infrastructure related stuff, performance tuning, just an enormous amount of time on non-business value producing things, just keeping the infrastructure going. Presumably, the premise is that an all-flash array would have a positive impact on that. All-flash arrays, converged infrastructure might as well. But what are you seeing in the field in terms of attacking that problem? The industry generally and Violin specifically.
So what we see in general is by use of these high performance systems, converged infrastructure for some, for us obviously it's the all-flash array. You see a process in IT changes. So they have a certain process they do with all hard drive based array, which involves in the database world a lot of performance tuning, same thing in the virtual world, Oh my God, I'm not meeting the SLAs. So the value of the all-flash array solutions is you get such good latency and such good IOPS once you've done the initial tuning, and we do, as I mentioned earlier, do initial tuning. We have all these ex-Oracle guys that work for us, SQL guys, et cetera, that know how to tune, and same thing with our channel partners. Once you've done the initial tuning, normally you don't have to do much. We have a customer, different telco application. This is gathering real-time sensor data on all of their satellites and all of their towers globally. Feeds into a high-performance Oracle rack database. And what they found in that Oracle rack database, they were constantly tuning. Once we did the initial tuning, no problems, and in fact, we gave them 12x performance over their original system, and we did help them tune the Oracle database on the Oracle side, as well as tune the storage on our side. But we've already shown them, and they've done it themselves, that they can actually absorb 20x performance demands without doing any additional tuning on the exact array they have. Not buying our next generation, not buying the generation after, but the one they have right now. They can go from 12x better performance, which is what they got compared to a hard drive array. They have another 8x performance that they've already demonstrated and proven that they can grow into without swapping our hardware out or doing any tuning by the DBA.
So, okay, so they can take that benefit as time, presumably. What are they doing with their time?
So they're working on our other aspects. They're either creating new databases that need to be done, they're doing other maintenance, they're doing things like, data security issues, dealing with those issues, but they're not dealing with the performance of the storage.
They'd be serving the application heads better. So, everybody talks about the stovepipes in the marketplace, Oracle, SAP, maybe VMware, VDI. We've touched on a number of those. Are there any, specific markets that stand out there? So Oracle, Microsoft, SAP, VDI, and VMware, you've got some Microsoft Affinity that you've announced. Can you talk about the sort of market opportunity for you guys, and then I have a follow-up on that.
So for us, the market opportunity is across. Our focus is on apps. Okay, yes, we're a storage company, and I've been doing storage since 1985, But we don't just talk IOPS, we don't talk gigabytes, we don't just talk latency. We talk about what do you need for that Oracle data warehouse? What do you need to optimize your SAP HANA? How can we help you do that? Those are the types of business discussions, or what I'll say, application technology discussions we have. As I mentioned with that giant banks that changed their virtual server infrastructure, they were looking for a way to more effectively manage their virtual servers. In the case of the Oracle customer who went from 48 physical servers to 2, not only do we make it easier for them to manage their Oracle infrastructure, but actually the guy who handled the hardware, he only had to manage 2 physical servers now instead of 48. So was able to optimize both, in this case, an IT change for their hardware team, but also an IT change for the software team, in this case, the Oracle DBAs. So that's an example of the change that all flash arrays engender into the entire data center ecosystem. It's not just about the database or not just about VDI. Literally, the key thing with flash is I would posit that flash is cheap. And you optimize your overall data center, and you can save money with flash.
Excellent. All right, Eric, listen, thanks for coming on. I'll give you the last word here. Things are getting crowded in the space. You guys used to be here long, but that's a compliment, right? You want to be in a business where you have competition and it's coming in hard. So, a year from now, maybe even 2 years from now, let's say 12 to 18 months out, what's the space going to look like? Where's Violin going to be?
So there'll clearly be a thinning of the herd. There'll be consolidation just like there's happened in the server space. It's happened in the storage space. There's no compact storage division anymore. There's no DEC storage division anymore. So it's already happened, that will continue. In this space in particular, there's over 30 startups as well as all of the big storage companies all doing it. So I think there'll be a consolidation and the very weakest ones will fall out and those that are really focused on delivering business value and optimizing applications will be around, and we think and are pretty sure it's going to be us. Our stock has been going up a lot lately in the last couple of weeks and had some very good quarters. We're one of the few publicly traded small companies left in the storage business. And we're turning things around, and our focus on apps and our focus on the data center, not just on storage, is what we think the secret to longevity in the industry.
Eric Herzog, always focused, always a pleasure having you on theCUBE. Thanks so much for coming on.
Great, thank you very much, Dave.
All right, keep it right there, everybody. We'll be back, Stu and I, with our next guest right after this. This is theCUBE, we're live from Oracle OpenWorld. Right back.